You, noble heroes, you finally made it through the fight, but at such a cost. Your noble friend Egbert lies dead on the ground. You won, but this is no victory.
He was too good for this world, truly. I just wish I was stronger. If I was stronger, there was something I could have done to stop them before this happened. No, my friend, you cannot blame yourself. We all knew the risks when we entered into this fray, including Egbert. He gave his life for our cause, a noble and worthy sacrifice. You're right, but I wish there was something we could do now to help him.
Cleric, you wanna chime in here?
Oh, yeah. I might be able to do something. Wait, really? What do you need? Anything? A diamond, yeah. I need a diamond, gosh. So tired.
Wait, what? Why?
I don't know, just give me the diamond.
Okay, here you go.
Okay, that's done. Can I go back to sleep now?
What? No sacrifice or ritual or anything?
Well, I sacrificed the diamond, you know, that's pretty valuable. I mean, it's a lot of money, I like money, you know, don't you? Could you use that money for, like, drinks and stuff?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Oh, Egbert, you're alive! Amazing!
Yeah, what happened?
My friend, you died.
Really?
You look brilliant. Don't you feel hurt or wounded or anything?
No, I feel perfectly fine. Tip top. Well, that was anticlimactic. Welcome to Grit and Glory, the brand new TTRPG that changes the game. If you like the video, of course, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We must appease the YouTube algorithm. And if you don't want to miss a future upload, don't forget to hit that little bell icon. But if you do want to be more a part of the community, don't forget to join our Discord, which is in the description below, where we chat, we play games, and we even post the occasional poll to get your guys' input. But now, on with the video. Death in D&D is not really that big of a deal. I mean, once you reach level 5 and your cleric unlocks Revivify, you're practically immortal. And yeah, I think that does kind of fit for what D&D is aiming for. They want to make practically fantasy superheroes. And no one wants their super powerful superhero to just die. Especially not before they've finished their precious character arc. But personally, I prefer in Grit and Glory when there are real stakes and my character dying is going to have a massively long-lasting impact on the game and campaign. Everyone I know that plays D&D loves their PC so much, and I'm no exception. But that love for them is what makes me want death to matter. This shift in mindset is actually what inspired me to change the way that we even thought about combat in Grit and Glory, which I explain in depth in this video right here. And let's be honest, with death not meaning anything, what's stopping your players from doing whatever they want, whenever they want, being full murder hobo? I mean, there's a reason that D&D horror stories exist as a subreddit. With that much power and that little responsibility, you won't be turning your players into Superman, you'll be turning them into Homelander. But I think we've jumped ahead a little bit here. We haven't even talked about dying itself, because that in D&D is hard to do in the first place. D&D is made to be a very, very easy game. And when you do actually end up dying and it just didn't mean anything, I think that ruins roleplay moments. It can make what are supposed to be really big, scary moments, like the final boss fight of the campaign, kind of feel anticlimactic. Because even if they result in deaths, there's no reason that they wouldn't just be brought back. It takes powers out of the player's hands, out of the GM's hands even, because there's no logical way to explain why the cleric wouldn't cast Revivify, or why they couldn't just hire one down the road that could do it for them. I just imagine some traveling cleric that goes around town to town, bringing back dead loved ones, lickety-split, with no consequence. And I'm not saying that resurrection should be impossible. It shouldn't be. are ways to resurrect people in Grit and Glory, but it's very different. Before I get into that though, I actually want to talk about dying itself.
We're gonna die! What the hell are you talking about?
In D&D, dying is not common, as we already talked about. But when it does happen, it's pretty boring. All you do is sit there and roll death saves and hope you get lucky. There's no choices to be made. And in G&G, we've changed that completely. Firstly, it's not just a matter of hitting 0 HP. That obviously doesn't help your whole living situation, but it's not the way that you actually die. We instead have what's called a mortal wound system. So this is when you get hit by a big attack, or when you hit 0 HP or something else like that, you gain a mortal wound. And if you gain enough of those, that's when you die. As simple as that.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
But if you're not dead and you do hit 0 HP, then you start bleeding out. You don't fall unconscious. This is not a nice state to be in, but you actually do still get to act and do things in the game. It means you still get to play. I mean, that is what I thought the whole game was meant to be about, making choices. And we made being in this state a little bit more fun because it's going to happen a whole hell of a lot more than it does in D&D. Plus, the game is called Grit and Glory. There's got to be some grittiness there, right? And what is more gritty than taking a sword to the gut, only to pick up your warhammer and smack the man in the back of the head before collapsing and bleeding to death? But you don't actually have to do those moments. You can play it more safe if you want to, you know, crawl away, get to safety, wait for your friends to come and save you at the end of the fight. But either way, it's a decision that you've made. This kind of choice is similar to how Daggerheart's death mechanic works, I believe. But I've not actually played that system yet, so I can't say 100%. But anyway, now you know how dying works, let's get back to undying. First thing you need to know when trying to bring someone back to life, have they died before? If so, that is a really important thing. You can't just treat the mortal coil like a revolving door coming in and out, in and out. It has permanent effects on you. Most importantly, that it's harder to bring you back the next time. Next, we need to know how long you've been dead for. This is something that D&D actually does track, and it's because it's pretty obvious that someone who just died 5 seconds ago is easier to bring back than that 10,000-year-old mummy. But we go a little bit of a step further than D&D. Yes, you do need higher spells than basic to raise someone who's been dead for longer, but there's also different accountabilities for how the state of the body is in, and is there a sacrifice associated with the spell? That kind of thing adds a bit more depth to it. And there will always be massive consequences to the dead that have returned. It won't be as easy as just give a diamond and they come back brand new. What even is that, by the way? I mean, I just have to stop for a second and say, who the hell thought that diamonds made a good sacrifice for bringing back the dead in D&D? I mean, the Dungeon Newbie's Guide has a great video on this topic for fixing this issue in D&D. So you should definitely go check that out right after this one. So needless to say, the sacrifice I mentioned earlier isn't a diamond. No, the material ingredients in these kinds of spells are a lot darker and thematic. But how does the actual resurrection itself take place? Well, this is where the third and final thing that we need to consider is taken into account. Is the dead creature willing to return? If they are, then we'll do the first kind of resurrection, which will be the most common one, probably. And the first step there is helpers. This can be a doctor, another spellcaster, family and friends of the dead one, and they all get to make one contribution check each. The nature of the check and what exactly they do is up to them. They could be sewing up the body, enchanting it with oils, or just begging the loved one to return. Whatever way they choose to help, the GM then sets a DC according to how impactful they think that method will be. The GM then marks each success and failure. The final resurrection spellcasting check is then made. The DC for this check is initially 20, but it's +5 for each time the creature has died before, and plus another 1 for each failed contribution check. But it is -3 for each successful contribution check. Because this is a willing resurrection, the spellcaster actually gets to add the will bonus of the dead creature to their check as well. And this isn't just a simple pass or fail. Depending on the spell, barely failing can have severe consequences. Sure, they might be alive again, but what do you really call life in this state? And failing, well, that's it. There can't be a second try. There is no redo. At least not for a very long time. And that's why when you are in this situation, there's real tension. They know that this is their only shot. They're going to try and make sure it counts. They're going to prepare. They won't rush into it. They'll probably spend too long preparing, to be completely honest. And they'll almost undoubtedly use joint spellcasting every single time they try this, if they can. But I have a video describing what joint spellcasting is right here. But for an unwilling resurrection, it's a little bit more difficult. You have to actively wrangle the resisting soul back into its body. And guess what? They have the laws of nature on their side.
Firepower.
This means there are no helper contributions, and you don't get to add the will bonus to your check. In fact, their will bonus is added to the DC, so it's a really difficult fight. And once you do resurrect them, whether you're friend or foe, they're not just going to be in tip-top condition straight away. There's going to take some time for them to heal and recover. And depending on how bad the resurrection went, they might never be the same again. How do you think zombies started after all, if not a botched resurrection? Maybe you bring that player back, but he has some arcane disease that will slowly zombify him if you don't cure it. Maybe you brought them back and they've lost the ability to love. Part of their heart was left behind. Whatever the consequences are, it's up to you and your table to deal with them. We have tables that make it so that you can roll and get random consequences, but you might choose to use them, you might not. You might make up your own that fit your story better. But whatever you do, the fact that they're there is already going to enhance it. So if you want to play a system that gives weight to your life and to your death, it's time to try Grit and Glory. I hope you enjoyed that video, and a massive thank you to the Patreon supporters. This would not be possible without you guys. So if you want to check that out, please do. It massively helps the channel. But on bigger news, the Grit and Glory Kickstarter is officially going live September 24th. So keep that in date. The great thing is that early backers can actually start from today. For just £1, you can secure yourself guaranteed early access to all of the goodies from the Kickstarter. In the meantime though, why not check out one of these amazing videos?